Colombia is one of the most biodiverse countries in the world. Thanks to we have all ranges in temperature, it's possible to count on all types of crops, partially at any time of the year. We feed ourselves daily with our local land product, but you rarely get to know its multiple benefits. For example, do you know which fruit has more vitamin C than oranges, improves digestion, sees irritable bowel problems, and helps to heal gastric ulcers, among many other properties? A legend says that in times of conquest, a Spanish captain, prisoner of Indians in Chile, fell deeply in love with the chief's daughter of the tribe. One day, the couple were walking by the river Elqui, and a jealous warrior ended with the life of the young. The woman shed so many tears in that place that some trees began to grow, and after months went by, they started to bear fruit in a teardrop-shaped, green at first and deep yellow at maturity. So it was called the Golden Tears tree. Time passed by, and the tree is now well known as papayo, and its fruit as papaya. In ancient times, this fruit was known as the fruit of good health, and its seed was distributed throughout Central and South America, and later on, it was taken to other continents. My name is Edward Martinez Aguilar. I was born in Puerto Oyacá. I was raised in the Bank of Magdalena, and from there I headed to the Eastern Plains 10 years ago, and I have worked in papaya agriculture for 12 years already. The owner-cultivator of 17 hectares planted with papaya maradol will share with us what this noble family business with such importance for the economy and public health is about. First, we must start preparing the ground. We must plow it. Then we use the rake. After that, we have to restructure it by doing drainage every 5 meters to plant a tree, every meter and 80 centimeters, and between rows 2 meters and 50 centimeters. The papayo is able to grow up in any soil, provided that it is lightweight, fertile, deep, permeable because of having soft stems and roots. If it's grown on wet land, the root system can get rotten. For growing papaya, we have to look for the place where it's going to stay, which is somewhat dry. Then we take a sample of soil to verify the pH and the nutrients the soil has for avoiding losing what it takes to make manure, and get to know which element the land is lacking of. The basic requirements for establishing a crop of papaya are being planted in a soil with good drainage and a pH between 6 and 7, having a temperature between 22 and 30 Celsius degrees. Due to cold temperatures prevent the growth of the fruit, the average annual rainfall should be 800 millimeters. If there is not enough rainwater, an irrigation should be performed by supplying drip or spray. Can be grown at sea level until 1000 meters altitude, but the ideal is to be below 800 meters to get a better quality of fruits.
Planting process.
After having prepared the ground, the first step to start the crop is to have the seed. To begin, those must be placed on a newsprint covered with ashes. This mixture is moistened on the surface and it is left in the sun for a period of 5 days. Once these seedlings are prepared with black land, and if it's possible a little land, a hole of 1 centimeter is made to deposit 2 seeds on each. During the stage of germination, land must remain moistened and seeds must be protected with a mesh at an average temperature of 25 Celsius degrees. After 20 days, or when the plant has already 5 leaves, you can proceed to transplant to field. Firstly, the field is demarcated so that the distance between one plant and another is 2 meters. With a tool, you make a hole of 20 centimeters. You add 100 grams of fertilizer. Followed by this, you fill it up with extracted land. This is done in order to leave the ground soft for the root to grow up faster. When it has been 8 days of planting, we have to use some elements to control pests and brush. So right away we apply a fertilizer called Plumeria. After 30 days, we are adding 3 kilos of organic material called genus in compost so that the plant has a better grip on the root. Hence, you start fertilizing every month. The higher is the plant and the higher the growth, the more fertilizer we use. We add a minimum average of 200 grams of this chemical. He is Alonso Alvarez, Edwin's brother-in-law, who he has imitated to be able to have his own crop of papaya. I had saved some money by the time I started to work with Edwin. Over time, he explained me how does the papaya crop go ahead because he has years of experience in this field, and I thought it was a great idea. Hence, I planned to invest my savings in an hectare, and it began my illusion of working with this fruit, and I don't have to work as an employee for a third party. Let's get to know in the crop of Alonso some important aspects for a successful development in your crop. Then, 6 months after the plant has grown, it is required a procedure called removal, consisting of removing land and store it around the tree. This process is done in order to give more stability since the trunk is very weak and there are superficial roots.
Cultural practices.
A pəઃpɑ́jə is made up by the following parts: root system, stem, leaves in charge of protecting the fruit of extreme sunlight exposure, female and male flower. The female one is commonly used for sweets and delicious papayas. The papaya flower shows up 40 days after being transplanted to the field, and 60 days later, the female flowers start bearing the first fruit. It is important to fertilize by spraying the flowers or at the top of the tree to encourage the continuous and appropriate growth of the fruit. For example, if we observe deformities on the papayas, it means that there is a lack of borne, that it must be resolved immediately to avoid losses at the time of selling. As for the roots, it is important to apply chemical fertilizer every month, 100 grams during the first months and 200 grams when the tree reaches maturity, with the purpose of strengthening the presence of nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, and boron. We also must put 3 kilos of organic matter. In early stages, might be necessary to disinfect the manure before being used on the tree because it can get contagious by fungi. My dream project is to buy a house by my own, to work as an independent, get my children to study at college, choosing the best careers, for them not to go through the suffering I have been through. The pests that attack us here in the crop the most are the variola. We have the mites and the anthracnose attacking us too. The variola is manifested in some points on the leaves because it starts drilling them, causing the tree to fall. The ácaro or mite attacks the later part of the leaf because they suck the sap of the tree, and this eventually affects us, of course. And the virosis is attacking us by making the plant to turn yellow, and this is how we identify it. the fruits get dried. But the main point of this is to learn how to control the pests, because they are spread by white flies and other animals. For this reason, it's necessary to maintain a fumigation plan for the trees to be healthy. As a preventive measure, it's necessary to use insecticides and miticides for a minimum of 15 days. If a widespread is detected, but if it is a sustained presence, it is required to intensify fumigation. We must be prepared to face the mite, which is the most complicated pest we deal with when having a crop of papaya. Because when the virus appears on the tree, we face it easier with a treatment. With the mite, we have to fumigate every 8 days instead. To keep an effective control of the pests, it's necessary to remove those trees that are damaged by fungi. This is done in order to prevent the spread on other close papayas. In extreme cases, we have to bury some papayas to avoid the proliferation of flies or parasites on its inside. On the other hand, removing the brush is vital, not only to promote absorption of nutrients, but also to prevent the growth of disease-carrying insects. This fumigation should be performed every 1 or every 2 months. You have to keep the soil clean from grass because it hosts insects. When you fumigate, they take shelter in the lower parts, but if we have the ground clean from brush, they will have no longer a shelter, and it is an effective insecticide. Another important aspect to keep a good maintenance of the crop is to have sticks of papaya supported by a wooden element or bamboo. This should be done after the fruits are developed, because followed by this stage, the weight causes the tree to lean and it might break given the fragility of the trunk. It is the fragility one of the enemies of farmers. Due to rain and strong winds may completely destroy it. As in this opportunity, Edwin lost 80% of his crop in just one night. Now these are lost, but you cannot give up. We have to keep moving, and if we cry, it is worst. Losses are part of every business. Edwin is relaxed because he is expecting other papayas to grow up. And despite the bad weather, his crop has more than 7 months and it is ready for the best, the harvest. We have an hectare. We talk about 90 or 180 tons per hectare. After collecting the fruit, we do this procedure even twice a week. In my case, we do it Monday and Friday. After gathering all the fruits in one place, we initiate the packing process. Firstly, we immerse the papayas in a maturin for giving them better conditions in flavor and texture in the moment of its sale on the market. To continue, we cover the inside of the baskets, which will be used for transporting the fruits with newspaper. This to avoid bruises or injuries in case you need to transport them to long distances. It is recommended the use of containers or coolers for not hindering the process of maturation. The last step are local markets or supplying centers of the natural territory.
Uses and properties. A piece of papaya we consume has the double minimal portion of vitamin C, vitamin that any human being needs for the proper vital functions. This vitamin C helps preventing diseases such as constipation, gum problems. It helps improving cancer, especially those located in the gastrointestinal tract. Its consumption is raw, alone or with salads. It is also nice to consume it in juice or sorbets to vary your food. I recommend the papaya with an enzyme that is called papain for having a good digestion of food.
Let's get to know with Rodrigo Isaza, who is a professional chef, a delicious recipe to consume this marvelous fruit. Today we will make a stuffed papaya with curry chicken. The ingredients are garlic, spices, milk cream, pepper, onions, nuts, turmeric, curry, chicken, and papaya. In this case, we can work with the breast. Let's cut the chicken into squares. Then, using a little of oil and salt, we mix our chicken breast to brown it slightly. We will chop our onion. Here we do the following. We pour some oil with all the spices. Then we heat this mixture slowly for removing the spices. In that bowl, we fry the onion. In this very moment, we add garlic and a little bit of pepper. Here it is important to mention that we depend on the amount of spicy we want for dinner. At this point, we add the curry, and for increasing the color, we use turmeric. Now we mix the two things, the chicken and the spices. We put them in another bowl for adding later the coconut milk. Our chicken is now cooking. After sealing and flavors are blended, if it's dry, we can use the milk cream for making the soft sauce. Meanwhile, we use nuts, almonds or peanuts. The idea with these elements is to have a higher level of crispy on the dish. Once we finish this, we prepare the fruit. We can use Hawaiian or regular papaya. We just have to choose the long and thin papaya to then cut them in hoops. For this dish, we put the papaya. Then we fill it up or stuff it with the chicken. And at the end, we use the nuts. In this occasion, the papaya is essential to give the bite because the spicy of the dish is balanced with the fruit flavor. We usually lease the land for 2 years, and we can have crops of 7 months, a year, or a year and a half. Sometimes the crop might be for 24 months, depending on the pests and care the farmer has of it. Edwin is a hiker. With his family, he has traveled around the country for 12 years looking for lands where he could plant papaya. This has been his way to sustain himself and to achieve with a lot of effort what he has nowadays. And he would like his daughters to preserve with themselves the knowledge of this crop. I would like my daughters to continue with agriculture. Many women are strong in this field. Therefore, I think it is a good and healthy occupation. The papaya provides me to sustain my children. I have furnished my house. In this moment I work for my own house, and a bike to transport all together. The papaya is a crop of high productivity that in Colombia has many areas for exploitation. By 2008, there were almost 6,000 hectares cultivated that produced around 180,000 tons. So, as we see, this fruit of earth not only benefits consumers for its high nutritional conditions, but also benefits the Colombian peasants.